Ancoro, ancoro, encore, encore, yell the crowd as they move as one towards the DJ booth. It sounds like a football chant. Behind the decks, the effervescent Kitaki is a whooping ball of energy, urging the sharply dressed patrons to even greater heights of acrobatic prowess on the sprung wooden dance floor.
Yes, snapping fingers means go. So podcast 35 with Duncan Forgan.
Hi.
Do we say Forgan or Forgan?
No, you can say whatever you like, but yeah, generally it's Forgan.
Forgan,
Yeah.
and no glottal stops on it. You just tell me that's a Scottish thing.
They come later when
Forgan.
they come later when I don't know what to say.
All right, good. Well, welcome to the show, Roman Anton Podcast. Thanks for coming over.
No worries.
Yeah, so we have a mutual friend in common. He introduced us a while back, and I took a wild shot at getting you in. And under the premise that you have a series of jobs that you do, if I had to call them jobs.
Yeah, I'm kind of all over the shop at the moment.
Yeah.
It's freelance writer, sort of father, stressed out father.
Yeah.
And that's kind of about it. But yeah, I suppose I kind of moonlight as a musician and general sort of
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
man about town. I guess.
I'm glad we didn't miss out on that one because I spent quite a bit of time because the catalog is it's big, right? It's 20 songs out there.
Sure, yeah.
You do not have that on your LinkedIn profile description, musician, though.
I think, LinkedIn's all about, it's all about schmoozing with the work, isn't it? Really. So, I decided to keep the musician part for
hidden. Okay.
I'm honored and humble to be making demo tapes.
Yeah. All right. So not under top skills.
Not yet.
Copywriting, public relations, editorial, and music king.
Yeah. You never know in the future.
Right. But it is, I had to stop and pause here because if you click on the internet and do a search on you or use this profile from LinkedIn, and you start in a different order than the way it's listed. So if you did, for example, remote lands before CNA luxury, you might get a similar idea of what your primary skill sets are, right? But if you click on like Property Guru, a listed company on the New York Stock Exchange, that one seems a little more driven at, sales and purchasing and property and news, as opposed to CNA luxury or remote lands, which I thought I understood them at first, but as I clicked through the buttons, I thought, oh, wait, this one's almost a guide for the rich on how to be rich.
Yeah, well, it's just something that is almost innate to working class people from Fife, which is where I'm from. It's
right.
Like, we just know what pleases the rich in terms of travel, and also what rich Asian property investors might like to buy. So yeah, the skill set almost comes naturally.
You're being serious, right?
No, I'm being
serious. Okay, right, because
I'm being slightly facetious.
I thought you were going to say because I was member number 4 at St. Andrews, where you grew up. I thought that was going to take a turn. I was like, wait, come on.
Yeah, no. I think it's just over the years. I think it's one of the things when you're a freelance, freelance hustler is just basically something, something falls in your, and I've been doing the property magazine for years, and I worked as a travel writer previously, so yeah, that's kind of that's sort of naturally progressed for remote lands, and I just love advising the rich.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, that's what it boils down to. You're natural.
Exactly.
Go here. Well, let's jump into that. You brought it up first, and I saw. I think that's on the CNA Luxury, one of your taglines, or maybe it's on one of the other ones. No, it was on the media group. Raised in Kingdom of Fife. Okay, I should have known there's a little bit of sassiness there. St. Andrews, in the neighborhood of St. Andrews, which is the golf course, which is Scotland and which is, I I wouldn't place it as north central or central, but it's in Scotland. So
yeah,
you grew up there. Rugged conditions there, right?
yeah. We were, battered by rain from the day that I came out the womb.
Yeah.
Not really actually. I've just been back in St Andrews and Fife for the last few weeks, and yeah, it was kind of. Yes, my stepbrother had said, "Oh, it's this is the kind of Cotswolds of Scotland around here." And it's very genteel. The part of Fife that I'm from is kind of like rolling fields and tractors, and very when I started as a journalist, the first story that I did was about a field, a farmer getting new fertilizer for his field. So it's a place where not very much happens.
Okay, what's the crop there?
There's a lot of wheat. Yeah.
Wheat for food or for alcohol? I'm trying to direct you to say everything there's whiskey, but it's not. It's not gonna happen right now.
No. It's further away. Yeah, no, it's for feed. For food. Yeah, and we got a lot of oats and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm not a particularly agrarian guy. Yeah. There's a lot of fields for sure.
Yeah, but if you grow up in it, you sort of know what's out there too.
Yeah.
Mine was, I guess, cabbage. I guess that's seasonal. So there was sauerkraut. There was the Kraut Festival. Heaven knows was a good name for something, and corn.
Because you
I was in Wisconsin, so yeah, that was Wisconsin in America. So that was, I guess I don't even know if I'm right. Maybe soybean.
Right. Okay.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
If you asked me to break it down, right? And it was miles and miles of it, right?
Yeah. That's the same as me. Yeah.
There must have been other stuff, like a potato or something.
Yeah. You would have thought so. Yeah.
Radish.
You got a lot of cheese over there, right?
Yeah, that doesn't grow in fields though.
But the cows feed off the grass in the field, right?
Well, and cheese will be a follow-up subject with me because you've written on the topic, maybe not extensively, but I'm sure you tried it all. So.
All about the cheese.
Right, and it's cheddar.
Right.
And maybe a white thing that we gave a name to, a white cheese that started to veer towards factory made.
Yeah, nice.
Right. So Fife, grew up there?
Yep.
Through high school? In high school, I would say is 14 to 18, that period of time?
No, it didn't actually. We, I was the child of a broken home. So, my parents are both from Fife, but after they split up, we went up to Perth, which is quite close to. It's in Tayside, Perth, Scotland, not Perth, Australia, which is generally more famous. But yeah, so I was in Perth for the high school. That was basically where my cider drinking and Buckfast drinking days, which is fortified wine, was. And then Buckfast, yeah.
Buckfast.
It's like a really, really bad port.
Excellent.
But
so it's not like breakfast.
No. But you wouldn't want to have it for breakfast. Yeah. No, I mean it's famous for making people go absolutely mental. So
good.
Yeah.
Excellent. And so that was your high school years were in Perth.
High school years, yeah, in a band, kind of, yeah, just in. We were basically in the sort of Tayside pub scene around Perth and Dundee and in those areas. But yeah, unfortunately, we didn't really do enough work in publicising ourselves to break free from that. So yeah, that was the teenage years, and then off to Edinburgh for university.
Right, and what was the name of your? I would call it university. I don't think you would. Is your university is that 18 to 22 roughly?
I was there when I was 17.
Okay.
So 17 to 21.
And that's university, you call it that?
Yeah. So I did a BA in journalism around that time in Napier. So, yeah.
So is Napier in the middle of the city? If I were there and I were looking at, what is it, the Holy Rood or whatever's up on the hill, is it near there or is it somewhere else in the city?
No, there's various campuses and we were kind of guinea pigs at the time. So, yeah, we had like this new... it wasn't purpose-built campus. It was an old mental hospital, actually, that they'd converted into a campus. So it was quite apt for journalism students
to be in.
Yeah, basically just to just to send them off to this old mental hospital.
And then you drink the breakfast juice.
We'd graduated.
This is a poor attempt at humor.
Buckfast was a teenage thing, so we graduated onto headier libations by then. Yeah,
good, young Scotsman. So are you journalism straight out of the box? You knew it was in your heart, or was this? I ask myself that question a lot now, especially since the industry's so kind of screwed at the moment. Meaning digitized is taken away, or there's not the beat reporter, or there's not the Rolling Stone reporter. There's,
a little bit. Yeah, I don't really know what it was that. Yeah. I mean, I think at an early age, I was just kind of, I can put a few phrases together, pen on paper, and it seemed like a pretty cool job. And
who said that you could put phrases together? You, or were you rewarded or awarded in grade school and high school? Were you the writer kid? Did you have the funny stories? Did you draw the funny cartoons? Or
no, not even that. To be honest with you, I think it just sort of seemed like a profession that was that I would want to do. I mean, obviously, you're reading guys like Hunter Thompson, and I was always really into really into music journalism. So I was NME from New Musical Express.
Yeah.
So since I was like a kind of kid that was obsessed with Morrissey and the Smiths.
Interesting.
And whatever. So.
I was going to say that's about the time period. So that was sort of the second high water mark of Britpop or Brit music rolling through, and well reported, maybe for the last time, right?
Yeah, I mean, we were basically, that was about sort of 1990, kind of Stone Roses, Happy Mondays, so there was that Manchester thing when I was like, just in high school.
And you had the Boys on the Horizon coming, which would be great to write, so it was going to be Wonderwall and all that stuff coming out a couple years later.
Yeah,
right?
Those guys, right. Oasis, right? Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But I mean, so you were screaming into that epic, great writing.
It was a good. I mean, it was a good time for tunes and I mean, obviously, it was just like, look, I mean, if I can do this and hang out with bands and whatever, but I ended up not really interviewing bands and not really hanging out with them. So
right.
so and here I am in Thailand. So
right.
doing a property magazine and things have taken a sharp detour.
You took a more fiscally prudent
I
writing
did,
approach.
exactly. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So let's talk about something we sort of skipped over. I didn't want to. So was mom or dad a journalism person?
No, I don't have any journalists in
brothers
in the family. No, there was literally nobody.
Favorite teacher?
Nobody apart from me. No, not even a favorite teacher. No, my dad's an architect. My mom's a social worker. So both retired. But there wasn't a. Yeah, I'm trying to think of someone that sort of
doesn't need to be. Just curious.
Came up by magic, but no, there was not. No.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you're the oldest in your family?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
so you're gonna do what you're gonna do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So how'd the music thing start? When did you start playing music?
I think there's a glottal stop.
Glottal stop.
Yeah.
Come on, I'm gonna keep scoring.
Yeah, that was pretty early. It was sort of early teens. Troubled, sensitive teenager. Just listen to Morrissey and the Smiths and Maroon and Stone Roses and stuff like that. Get the guitar and start warbling and moaning.
So you were the guitarist?
I was a rhythm guitarist and singer. So yeah.
And so the songs you have on SoundCloud, are they the band's or yours?
This song, there's one song that's the bass players, which is the sort of up tempo one that doesn't make you want to feel as though you're going to kind of
which song would that
slit
be?
Your wrists. It's called "I'm a Bothering You." So that's by the bass player, and it kind of sounds like The Damned. And, it's got like a bit of. It's got a bit of chutzpah. Mine are the sort of slightly more.
Well,
there's.
Let's experiment with something then, because I have favorites.
Okay.
And I have one queued up. Frank, can we try this? This to me is epic. Oh, let's see if I got it right. New Kensington Stroll.
Yeah, man, it sounded good.
Doesn't it?
It does.
Is that you singing?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's
Jeez.
that was recorded. Yeah, I think it was 15, 16.
3 stars. That was my number one entry by a long shot. Apart from your Big Star cover, which I thought, well done.
Yeah, and I tried.
Yeah.
That was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah, it was good to hear that.
Well, okay. So then my second entry. Here we go. That's him.
That's the bass player. Yeah.
Okay. So that was Am I Bothering You?
Yeah. So that's Jamie. A shout out to Jamie Reed.
Jamie, wherever you are, way to go. Good song.
Jamie Reed in Perthshire.
You got my second, but now that I know it's you, it's going to drop down to fifth. I'm going to go back to this. 2 very exciting songs. I can imagine if you were 15 writing that and playing that out loud, it got good reception.
Yeah, it did. Mm-hmm. I think we basically, we did a few supports with bands that eventually made it.
In what town?
Travis.
Yeah,
right? Do you remember Travis?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So they were a regular in Perth. So yeah, we played with those guys. And there was another few. There was like Cosmic Rough Riders who nearly made it, but didn't quite. So I think they were the Supernaturals as well who nearly made it. So there was a lot of nearly made it. And we were supporting the nearly made it, so we were the nearly made it.
That's funny though. There's an argument that Travis was sort of the precursor to a lot of the sound of the ones that did go over the top, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was re-listening to a bit of Travis actually the other day. I had a huge compilation of Scottish music,
right.
And it was actually sounding a lot better than I remembered, because they kind of, there was a view that they sort of jumped the shark a little bit and got into that kind of Snow Patrol, a little bit weedy, a little bit kind of windblown. I don't know. I mean, obviously, loads of people love Travis, and nobody really liked us. So so I'm definitely not being a critic, but yeah, they were sounding good. Yeah.
So, and you were playing with him, and so Warm Sun Rising.
Have you ever seen the dark moon crying? And can you see the dewdrops glow?
So, engaging, memorable stuff right off the bat.
Yeah, I think it's I listen to it now, and the lyrics are clearly someone that's not really thinking too much about what he's singing or whatever. But the tunes are pretty okay. Yeah.
And Gen 1, I think it was first for a reason. On the Cairo series, the Cairo years.
Uptown Carolina's got a lot to answer for. Wearing all the clothes that I once wore. Small town Confederation, I'm okay. Don't you care?
It's got a vibe.
Yeah, I mean, and then the you have this thing you've done a couple times in the lyrics. I know the extended repeat. So something tells me that you've changed. It tells me that you've changed. You know, tells me. Then you re-say it. Tells me that you're good. Just great. Sort of. I can see like, okay, these lyrics are on the way to something elaborate but very catchy.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah,
thanks,
it was just
man.
very.
So we're just, you know, we kind of let it go for a while, but yeah, I mean, that was I kind of came upon those demos. I mean, yeah, during COVID, obviously.
Yeah, that's what I saw. The timing.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's like
SoundCloud.
yeah, everyone's like taking stock of you know what they may or may not have achieved in life. So like, you know, I kind of came upon the CD that I hadn't found for ages, and you know, I was giving it a listen. It was like, some of this
Studio recorded, or did you guys do it on your own?
they were recorded just in a say like I think the ones that are on SoundCloud are four separate demos.
Okay.
So yeah, a couple were recorded in Dundee, in a studio in Dundee. One was recorded in Fife, and one was recorded in a rehearsal studio in Edinburgh. So yeah, they were kind of between, like over the course of 3 years.
15 to 18?
Like that. Yeah, was it like 15? I think it would be like 15 to 19.
Jeez, that's a lot. That's 19 songs. Someone's spending money.
It's pretty young. Yeah. No, they were pretty cheap.
But still, if you reach into your pocket to do 19, were they live or were they individual tracks?
There was like I think maybe the first. It's maybe about half of them that were done over individual tracks.
Cost goes up, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So we're just like a bunch of poor school kids.
Well, yeah. So New Kensington Stroll obviously was individual tracks. It's just a high quality.
That's right, overdubbed. Yeah.
And so the later 13 and Estrangement song were you solo. Those were done later.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still trying to work out Logic Pro at home, and that's something that didn't manage to work out over the course of COVID because I'm hella lazy.
Frank is an expert now at mixing his own material and working the boards, but we developed some skills. Film editing now too. I mean, we did the delivery thing we talked to you about. But there has been strain and struggle in this room. But Shogo, the guy you met in the back room, the drummer, went to music school, and so we have a significant amount of education and learning and usage in the room for mixing. And even then, it's hard. But
that's cool. It's like, I mean, I think if you've got a support network, and you know, I mean, you guys are, you know, you got projects that you're working on. I think that kind of boosts you. But during COVID, when you're just you're just sitting there with your bottle of gin, wondering whether the world's going to end,
or your buckshot,
or whatever, you know. Called? So yeah, buckfast, but buckshot would have been good as well.
So Sometimes a Notion was written by a Scottish writer. Is that the name? Sometimes a Notion. He used the word Bampot, and I've never asked what that means.
Sometimes a Notion.
Not Sometimes a Notion. That may be Ken Kesey. Oh, it was a great book. My brother gave it to me. He was from Edinburgh.
Right, okay.
Oh my goodness, it was a hilarious book.
Yeah.
It was sort of that, it's Bukowski style, but...
not Trainspotting.
No,
right?
no. It was. No. I'll think about it. Bampot.
Yeah.
It just came up when you said the Buckfast again.
Like there's lots of Bampots that drink Buckfast.
Okay.
For sure. That's it's basically like, I mean, its unofficial name is Bampot juice, basically.
I'm glad I retain the relevant details from these books.
Yeah, it'll be useful for you.
So I wasn't planning on doing that, but because it came up in the sequence and it came up in the context of maybe I could have, in those early journalism days, interviewed rock and rollers. Surprises me that you didn't try and force that round hole in a square peg, because you guys obviously had views on what your music sounded like.
Sure.
Yeah, this is not accidental 19 tracks. This is a band with a sound. You know, and I think of, he's telling tales to the banker in the context of that sign is awesome. And then there's a great jam in that section, and then there's like a rap Lou Reed's talk along section.
Yeah.
And I thought, this all hangs together.
Yeah, thank you.
15-year-old.
Yeah, we were like, we had to like, it's like balls of steel, man.
It's like a day in the life. Woke up, got out of bed. You know what I mean? It's so whoever the influences were, it held, but it was pretty unique. So
I think it's I actually just had a hill walk back in Scotland with Jamie, the bass player, and we basically we do it every year. We meet up, like I'm in every year bar COVID where you couldn't go anywhere, but anytime I'm back in Scotland, I'll meet up with them. We'll get like maybe one day where we go out in the hills. And we'll basically talk about how it's like, why the fuck weren't we, sorry to swear, but why weren't we picked up? Why didn't we put in more work in terms of sending out tapes and sending out demos and basically just kind of like nobody really heard us at the time and there it is. But I think we did believe at the time that we were real hot shots, so
maybe you were.
Yeah, maybe we were.
And maybe that's the we talked about this, maybe that's the screenplay right there. If it hasn't been written 50 times already.
That's it. Yeah, no, I've never heard one about a band
that drank buck fast and was full of Bampots.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
there we go.
The Bampot sessions.
The Bampot sessions, 19 songs. Well, good. Well, that was fun to good, and I'm glad I got back into SoundCloud. Friend of ours, Andrew, has his stuff on there, and he has some really elaborate stuff. But just think of this. I mean, SoundCloud. That was not around when you were doing this recording.
No, it was. I mean, it was all. It was all on tape.
Tapes.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, we're very proud of this. This is how we sell our music now. I should have hidden the stick.
Oh, that's cool.
But isn't that funny, right?
You almost had me there.
Yeah, right. I had to flip the stick in. So it's a cassette, which is not really the cassette. It has an MP3 stick shoved in there,
cool.
which is still dinosauric, right?
Yeah.
But
it's like these guys are legit, man.
Right, there we go. We played on cassettes.
Yeah, like real indie kids.
There we go. So music, you got a guitar out of its case in your living room or in the office?
No, there's 3 out at the moment, but I think
all right.
Yeah, I've been picking the guitar up recently, and it's like there's a couple of things that sound okay, but I'm just kind of.
All right. Yeah. Well, good. So let me say I don't believe you, and then let me do this. This is the summer of 2023, or the summer and fall or spring or summer. I'm not sure what region of the world we're in here sometimes. So tell me if this sounds familiar to you. April 11th, Samui, Koh Samui and Suratani. April 26th, Japan. May 3rd, Oman. May 16th, Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh. May 23rd, continuation of Vietnam, Ba Ta Long Bay. May 29, or maybe not, I wrote it down wrong. Sri Lanka. June 8, Chatuchak, which sounds like it's here. June 20, right around the corner, India. That's one website. That's remote lands. That's something we'll talk about. As I flip through, what's wrong with my writing here? I have to look at Balcony Media Group. July 13, interspersed here, Malia. July 11, before India, Krabi. June 20, a place I've never heard of, which made me feel like my 12 or 15 years here haven't been laser focused because I'd never heard of this place. But now that I've just spent 10 extra minutes looking on Instagram, all the models go there to eat. So Praia Palazzo.
All right. Okay.
I'm like, what is this place? Okay. Some of these I'm too lazy to drive 20 blocks, but that is a crazy schedule. So even if those dates don't reflect when you went or when the writing occurred,
they don't.
It's still output that's coming fast and furious. So
it's mental, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm seriously overworked, man.
Yeah. So there we go. and I'm gonna, the Roxa Wellness article really was 3 days of overworking, right?
Yeah. I mean,
getting a medicine trip.
It was just horrendous. So the gong bath, gong bath was especially strenuous.
I think I did print up gong bath because I wasn't even sure I was reading it right. So I do that to say you've jumped ahead. So you somewhere between finishing your university in the nation's capital or near the seat of power in journalism, where you could have interviewed rock and rollers and you elected not to, where you could have interviewed statesmen and elected not to, you hit the road.
Yeah, I mean, we did end up interviewing a few rock and rollers, but I just didn't really get paid enough for it. It was a kind of fiscal, I interviewed Marquis Smith and Primal Scream and a few for a free mag. But I basically I was just sort of wasting away on the local newspaper scene, writing about dogs stealing mints from news agents,
right.
The usual stuff. And I just decided to I got the chance of moving over to Dubai at the time. So that was my first stint away from Scotland was over in the Middle East. And that just kind of kicked off a desire to be elsewhere, right?
So moving away from, like, I'm maybe making this word up, but like a beat reporter, a news reporter, to a different style of writing.
Yeah, a little bit. I think I think I realized quite early that I didn't really want to, I didn't like doing, when I was working as a reporter, so I didn't really like going into council meetings and planning meetings and doing death knocks, when you're knocking on the door of people, trying to get information about their, someone that's like killed in the tsunami or something like that. Right. So it just didn't. That wasn't really what I was up for. So I thought, maybe free travel and free food and free music would be. Basically, that was the stage where I decided to be a sellout, basically.
Okay, and that's fine. So sub-editor at the Times. Inc., TA, and communications. It starts to go pretty quickly then towards travel stuff, right?
Yeah.
Sports and travel, maybe in flight to the Tiger Airways.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. So, and was that hard for you? Did you get the knack, or were your editors like, "This is garbage," or what? Because does a boy from Scotland have the sensibility? No, I'm being an idiot here, but did you come in prepared, or were you just off the mark?
No, I mean not really. I mean, I had done quite a lot of travel writing already back in Scotland. Just kind of doing free stuff.
Yeah.
It's like there's a trip going to Marseille or to Morocco or whatever. So. I was already kind of moving down that sort of like that blaggy travel path in Scotland. So, I didn't really, then it was at Middle East. So, I was traveling around a lot for Time Out, Middle East. So I was doing guys to Jordan, I was over in Yemen and stuff like that. So, nobody ever said, like, what are you doing? You Fifer going.
Is that what you call you?
Yeah, exactly. Get back to your imposter.
Fifer. It's like a Geordie.
Yeah. You're
Geordie.
Get back to your buckfast and your golf. So
which we need to talk about here because it's such a massive miss on your part to not be more of a golfer. By your own declaration, when you went to you had your golf stroke examined at one of the most expensive hotels.
That was another torture. Torture.
So how do you? So I'm going to ask from sort of a position of having had a similar realization one day when I got the company card in my hand and they said go forth.
Yeah.
And you show up and you figure out what the boundaries are. But someone says go forth and you show up and they say, well, okay, you do everything for 3 days on our property.
Sure.
And try to be nice to us.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of that's the sort of the deal, isn't it? And
so how do you get any sensibilities about what's right and wrong in that context? Like, here, do everything here, and we'd really like for you to do the spa so you can write about that because that's new.
Sure.
And it's just it's super luxury travel life.
Yeah, and there's there's so much unreality that's attached to that. It's ridiculous.
Right.
And I think, but I think, I think almost all, you know, I mean, that's the thing about travel writing these days is that, you know, I mean, you're not, expenses aren't really generally part of it these days, you know, or you know, rates are sliding down as well. So you know, generally it's almost, I think for a lot of people, you know, I mean, it's the symbiotic relationship between PR and travel media has just never been stronger. Right. So yeah, basically it's almost, you know, it's just kind of ridiculous. You're not really offering much in the way of, you know, I mean, I would say that for, you know, most of the things that I'm writing about, I'm not telling fibs and saying, you know, this is amazing when it's not, because you know, generally it's very, very good.
Right.
But yeah, it's not particularly critical stuff, right?
Right, and that's where I sort of lost the. I realized 10 years ago, 20 years ago, this would have been a different discussion. You know, and then I realized CNA Luxury, remote lands. The second entry on remote lands is a private jet.
Yeah.
I was like, what is this?
That's it. Yeah.
And it was awesome. I was like, God, well, me and the band and friends can go, you know, like this.
Sure.
Okay, yeah. So I got it. So, and that's the one. Catherine and Jay are the owners or the founders.
That's right. Yeah.
You have a title in that, and you seem to just crank out these articles. But I thought the one on Chatuchak, the only one that I had firsthand direct experience with the subject matter, because it's a discount market.
You've not been on a man private jet.
Well,
recently,
you know, I think I was held up for an hour while one was ahead of us, getting ready to go.
Sure.
You know, 35 acres, photos, really interesting overhead photo of that. You know, just I thought, this is reporting. You know, this is journalistic here. I'm getting, and the photos, I thought, did you take those photos for Chatuchak?
I did not. No,
yeah.
No,
just very good photos. Yeah. I thought, this is a completely legit discussion of a trip that, if done wrong, can be hot and vexatious.
Yeah, I mean, it's useful. You know, I mean, I think sometimes that's almost the best that you can kind of hope for from travel writing these days. Just because, you know, I mean, a lot of what I think goes online is basically just kind of like, you know, it's almost like just kind of you know, sort of like real sort of like high travel porn, almost just to kind of provoke envy, or
right?
Whatever.
So that would be,
you know, whereas something like you know, a guide to Chatuchak,
right?
Yeah, is actually like user friendly, and you know, I mean, I think people want to, you know, everyone wants to go to Chatuchak if they're in Bangkok, right?
Right, but none of the people who do the other 20 trips you've listed here want to go to Chatuchak. So there's
That's true, exactly.
This great divide.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah,
they're not setting. They're going to open the door and say, you know, get the plane revved up. We're flying to Samui.
Yeah, exactly. It's hot. It's hot and rubbish here. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm trying to break this down because you've identified the world that Kim Kardashian lives in, where she's been to, you know, these and better. And does her own style of reporting on them.
Kim and I are very tight.
Right. So you have the room next door probably, but she, you know, there's that notion of showing where you're at. And then there's, you know, the blatant sort of advertising, which is expected. Here's our hotel. This is awesome. Look what you can do. Then there's the online or hardback travel guides, like you mentioned, Time Out.
Yep.
I remember that was a must buy if you landed in town in certain towns at the beginning of the week to see who was playing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Remember that all up front, the live music section, and then the stage.
Yeah.
You know, sort of like the New Yorker.
Yeah.
And then sort of like other coveted magazines, Q on a monthly basis, or.
Yeah, I mean, I think Time Out is kind of struggling on. You know, I mean, I think it's you know, and still in London, and you know, they're you know, it's here as well, but yeah, it's definitely not the kind of counterculture Bible or, you know, left field Bible. Yeah, exactly. It's in your.
I don't need all that garbage.
Yeah, like it's just landfill, right?
Right. It's like a 2,000 word article. I need a paragraph to tell me
exactly.
So how? I mean, you have these three. So Balcony Media, Remote Lands, and CNA Luxury, all separate clearly unaffiliated entities, as far as I could tell.
That's right. There's no crossover.
Right. And
Honest.
so Balcony Media seems to sell experience and has a client base.
So Balcony Media is PR.
Yeah, right.
So that is like, that's kind of pure.
Right.
That's pure over to the other side of the barrier.
Right.
So,
But the Malia article was great, and I went back and looked at it, and I was like, why didn't this come on? And then the Praia Palazzo was news to me. I was like,
Sure.
Look at this place. How have I never heard of this? And so this is when I started to feel inadequate, just in terms of how I gather my new information and why I didn't know about these things. Why I'm not getting the right Instagram. Just
there you go.
for a variety of reasons. I thought, how could I have missed so many prominent new landmarks since I've been here?
So great PR then, right?
Like it was something. If I hadn't been looking out for you, but I did go through it, and I thought, well, that was well worth it. Now,
good. Yeah,
and I didn't subscribe or do what I was probably supposed to, or to pay a fee, but different than remote lands. I mean, remote lands to me seem to be the one with the biggest sort of, you could pay a fee and have someone put you on a vacation that there's no way in your simple broke ass condition you could ever figure out, and we will charge you appropriately, but you're going to have the wildest vacation of your life if you sit down and talk with us about what you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's like,
right?
It sounds amazing. I mean, I think,
and you go on these trips and report on them.
No, I don't. Unfortunately, no, I haven't. I haven't.
20 locations in Vietnam.
No, these aren't the remote lands ones. Yeah, these are kind of.
You wrote those.
I did, yeah, but they're from previous trips. They're trips that would fit in with the remote lands.
I see.
Ethos,
concept,
right?
Right.
So I mean, like basically,
I see.
Sure, it looks as though I mean, I have been to these places. They're
yes,
they're true reportage.
All right, I get it.
But yeah, they're not. In terms of remote lands, they do send journalists to places.
Yeah. I see.
However, I haven't had the time to do any of these
trips.
These amazing trips. Yeah.
Okay, but on the other hand, you did take the Loy River song from Bangkok to Ayutthaya.
I did. That was brilliant. Yeah, that was real.
Which seems pretty in line with the minor group's ability to have outrageous, awesome things.
Yeah. I mean,
the elephant camp.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, I was just over in Vietnam, did their Vietage. So they do the trade. They basically just like converted an old Vietnam State Railway carriage. So between Da Nang and Quy Nhon, so it's like 6 hours. It's basically just the best boozy train journey.
Looked beautiful though.
Yeah. It was. I can't remember. I can't actually remember anything from the train.
That was the old Buckfast.
Yeah, that was the Buckfast.
So the CNA Luxury then is you have a couple of articles on there. You have many?
Yeah, I've not been doing as much this year. It's been a slightly slightly quieter year for writing this year. I think I just sort of I don't know, just felt as though it was there were only that many, only so many paragraphs in your head, or leads or whatever. But yeah, no, I still do a fair bit for CNA. Yeah,
and that was interesting because they had the one. I don't think you wrote it. I think it was from a woman writer. 2 short names. I think she's not Thai. Who wrote on a bike collection that was just. What is this article doing in here? It was awesome, and the photos are beautiful. So do you remember that one?
I think I do.
Yeah. It's a guy who has 50 bikes, but some of them are $40,000 racing bikes that are lighter than air.
Yeah, I mean that's all. I mean stuff like that's cool. Yeah.
So when you did the the daily the sailing from Bangkok to Ayutthaya, I think was the title. How does that come to you? How are you lucky enough to get a luxury ride with 4 boats or 4 cabins on a boat, and the cabins are bigger than any hotel room you've stayed in?
Yeah.
And you get a master chef as your personal chef to take you up and down the river.
It really sucks.
Yeah. Is that? Are you just on the roster and they come up and you draw?
I was fortunate enough to be invited on that. I think I think there's a lot of freelance writers that basically just do the rounds of of these trips, and fortunately enough I'm kind of old enough and I've been around for long enough that I get the occasional invite as well. So I'm super. I was going to say I'm super grateful. I'm super grateful. It's a cliche, but it's
so
it's a great trip.
If you're doing it as work, is it work, or does it become?
It's work when you've not done the article for maybe about a month and a half afterwards, and you've kind of forgotten everything, and your notes just don't really make any sense. And
had this drink.
And you're just like, well, I can't really remember what happened. It was really nice.
Uh-huh. So you're known as that guy who forgets his name. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Generally, you can dredge it up, but I think it's always work when it does come down to the.
Yeah, because I wondered.
It's fun work, right? I mean, I think I think in the field of things that you can do for a bit of money is getting sent on an amazing boat and writing a few thousand 1,000 words about it for money is that definitely would be up there as a decent gig.
Yeah. And just like the Roxo Wellness, so that's another minor thing I think. I drove by that during COVID on the water, and I thought, what could that be? Because I had come up with things to do, which we probably looking back were supposed to do, but I went to Bangkok Island to find some green space to walk around, and was driving back and saw that property. I thought, wow, that looks cool. I've never seen that before. But you went on a 3-day wellness, not during COVID. You went on a 3-day wellness.
I think it was during COVID. I think it was right at the start of 2021. So it was kind of
nice.
Yeah,
so
things were still pretty mental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this was, and you make a comment at the end of the article that says, hopefully I can keep some of the lessons I've learned in my head about eating and wellness, right?
Yeah.
Which I thought, I'm sure that's tongue in cheek, but I'm sure he's deadly serious, because I'm sure at some point some of that stuff was vital learning for you. Probably first time, like, I didn't know if you ate grapes you could live longer.
Absolutely. I mean, it's all in your head. I mean, all of these intentions are there when you're writing it and you're doing it. But then, a week later, when you decide to go out for a couple of beers and you're on your 5th cigarette of the night, you start to forget about them.
Yeah. So what about that one? I mean, some of it was moved into almost medicinal, right?
Yeah, it was. I mean, that was quite an interesting place. I don't know exactly how it's doing now. I mean, that was that's obviously. I mean, that's kind of coming up for 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now that was there. So I mean, I think it just opened. I mean, it was an insane. It was a very high price point.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I think because they've got the tie up with the Vital Life clinic at Bummengrad.
Right.
So yeah, there was a real kind of medicinal part, as well as the kind of holistic gong baths and whatever. So I think that really drummed up the price. And
cryotherapy.
Yeah, cryotherapy.
Did you do that?
Yeah, I did the cryotherapy. I had the gloves on, and I've got the selfie. Well, it wasn't a selfie, but I look ridiculous.
And so, what was the purported benefit of that? I mean, did it take off dead skin or something?
I think it's cryotherapy, not for after you've your muscles or something like that.
That would be an obvious one to me, like an ice bath, but super icy.
Yeah, it was it didn't actually feel that cold, but it was an interesting few days. I think again, it's just like you're on this thing. It's like who. Yeah, I don't want to diss it, but who's got the money for this?
Wealthy people.
But yeah, clearly wealthy people,
and a lot of them.
Exactly.
I mean, the ones that stay at the Praia Palazzo and go to the
right, yeah, totally. So yeah, there obviously is a big market for it, and I think they did a great job. But yeah, it's just, I think it's always funny for me to kind of see. Yeah, it's like, wow, this is how this is how the wealthy live.
Right. They drink fruit beverages that taste like this for every meal.
Yeah.
Every day. Like this is the best drink I've ever had.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
this is pure ambrosia, you know? Yeah.
It's not Buckfast.
This is so far away from Buckfast or Sunny D or, you know, what, or Iron Brew or.
Yeah, you do a good job of concealing your contempt and admiration at the same time while you're writing these.
I think there's not real. It's not really contempt. It's just, as I say, it's just that it just feels like so much money, and it is so much money. So
I guess
it's
shock,
just insane.
It's
shock,
realization. But and it's funny, but you know, you tend to point out, you know, I'm late. You know, they're waiting for me. They got the schedule. I'm going to miss my CPAC if I don't get in there quickly. So I yeah, it's just sort of funny. So you bring your sort of
always inject a little bit of, like, you know, hapless poor idiot running around.
Well, but it's outside of you. I mean, unless your daily routine is getting cryotherapy, you know, you don't just jump into it gracefully, right?
Yeah, sure. There's no way. There's you know, I think the worst thing at Raxa was the worst thing was definitely the colonic.
Okay, right. You mentioned that.
Oh, I mean, that was just, you know, I mean,
but I would imagine for any Bumrungrad life clinic, that's it's my quarterly colonic time, honey. I'll be back after squash.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, it was just, I mean, it was like slightly had like sort of like pansy. They were like those
assless
those
chaps.
like those like bondage sort of like.
No, they're not.
Yeah,
they're for colonic people. You're backwards. It's a whole industry that makes backless hospital garments for rich people to go get colonics.
It was so bad. The nurse was just so nice and so pretty, and she's like trying to speak to me as I'm filling up with water, and you know.
It was probably couture. It was probably, if I know the minor group, it was like Chanel. Backsideless.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
They couldn't know. You're probably supposed to keep them. You probably threw it in the hamster.
That's right. Yeah. I've still got them. Yeah. They're on eBay.
There you go. Right. It's $4,000. Well, okay. So CNA Luxury, remote lands, balcony media, different things that unless you rush through them, you could confuse for being similar in purpose, but very different goals.
Sure.
I felt like I moved away from my Lonely Planet, take your name or your pick, descriptive yet ranking books. You know, here's the top 10. You know, these aren't, you know, this should be your top 10 cryotherapy location. This is it's information, and it's niche information, but it's niche for a large group of wealthy people, right? Yeah. So it's not really niche, but you know, you don't find out about it. And so the deluxe one, or the best one that I read, because it was in a topic that's close to my heart, was your trip down to Wahan. What's the name of the facility down there?
Chivasum.
Yeah, Chivasum is one of the older grand dams of wellness in Thailand, and maybe the first big one.
Yep.
I'm sure people contest that across the board, but you know, that's how it's written. You didn't write that down, but that's how it's described if I go into those other unworthy ranking systems. And you, as part of your campaign there, got a golf stroke analysis from didn't sound like a golf pro. It sounded like Superman or something. Like, right? It's like a multi-talented person, right?
Yeah. He was like the head of, you know, I think he was like the head of fitness there, and you know, he was golfer. He was just the man.
When would he talk to you about diet?
Someone else talked to me about diet.
Would he talk to you about course nutrition?
He didn't really say much about
hydrating.
Hydrating. Was part of it. Yeah, which is basically drink water.
Right.
Drink
not
water.
6 gallons of beer.
Exactly. Relax more.
Right.
You know, like basically just, you know, because I mean, I've always been quite an angry golfer.
Because it's 32 degrees Fahrenheit where you're golfing in.
In Thailand, there's no enjoyment. And,
you get a 100-degree or 100 mile an hour wind hitting in the face. Exactly. Your ball goes backwards.
Exactly.
That's enjoyable.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. St. Andrews is awesome. So I mean, how was that experience? Because that's sort of all things coming home. Like, wait, I'm now in one of the nice. You played at Black Mountain and Sea Pines. I forget what the courses were, but
I think that for the Chivas one, we played
Banyan.
at Banyan. Yeah,
beautiful, right?
Yeah, really nice. Yeah,
one of the most beautiful places.
Yeah, sweet.
On Earth.
I mean, again, it's just like like you're playing golf on a Wednesday, and
then the hotel's on beach property, so you have that ambiance.
Yeah, it's lovely. Yeah, yeah. Again, rubbish job.
And so if you're sitting here, sort of, then I look at some of your other trips, Maldives.
Yep.
So if not high end, then expensive, and if not expensive, by water people's estimation, the best. So you're there, all right. So let's just call it what it is. It's hard to get to, and it's awesome, and it's expensive.
It's sweet. Yeah.
Do you have preferences, or are you sort of, these are my favorite places to go? Are you ranking stuff? Are you bucket listing, or is it just not possible because?
No, not really. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, as I say, I of course, if you get the chance to go to like some, amazing resort somewhere, or go and get schooled on your golf game and achieve some, then that's an amazing opportunity. But in terms of actual trips that I would take my, I kind of like it a little bit more low key. Motorbike ride in northern Thailand, or I don't know, the bucket. I mean, I've traveled a lot, and I think one of the things that COVID was sort of good for was kind of just making you content just to be in the, not content to be in the one place, but just sort of appreciating just kind of low key places around Thailand, like go down to Koh Payam, and it doesn't, I mean, as I say, the sort of Chivas Psalms and Maldives and all these things are absolutely amazing. But I'm not I don't really have a bucket list.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, so, Bhutan, have you been there?
I have been to Bhutan. Yeah.
And have you written on it?
Again, fortunate. Yeah. I have. Yeah. It's in the archive somewhere. Maybe not online actually. I wrote about it for T&L, Travel and Leisure.
Okay,
so that was a few years ago.
Getting there, right?
Yeah.
It's in the archive.
And that was great. Yeah. Just basically just writing about all the the divine madmen and all the erect penises around the place.
Right. Yeah. There's a town for that, right? And then how about like Safari or South America? Are these
the only time? Yes, Safari. Yes. Fortunate enough to do a piece for Scotland on Sunday, so the one of the national newspapers back home. So we did a safari in Olpejeta, which is over in Kenya. So that was brilliant. Did that combined with Mombasa, so got a bit of the coast as well. So that was cool. South America, I've not really. I wrote one. I went to Brazil to meet an ex-girlfriend who was there, and just basically hung out in Rio for 3 weeks, and it was memorable, but I can't really remember that much about it. But it was brilliant.
And do you do like spec? I don't know what that means. Do you ever go on your own dollar somewhere and write about stuff and then try and sell the story, or is that not how this works anymore?
Kind of used to do that more, to be honest with you. I mean, I think like one of the things that's, I used to do a lot of work with a photographer. So I mean, I'm not particularly good at photography. So I used to work with a really great travel photographer called Aaron Santos. And so I mean, that used to be when you were traveling with your mate. It was just, it was more enjoyable to, you would just pay things, as you say, I mean, you would go over on your own dimes, like, this looks cool.
So what would you do? Aaron would say, I'm gonna take the majestic photo of the declining star sunset at wherever, and you're gonna write about it, dude.
I mean, something like that, or, I mean, maybe, I don't know, an example would be, we went over to Kobe in Japan a few years ago. I'd read a book on Northern Soul. There's a type of it was basically just like soul. It was like kind of soul music that never really made it big. It was like Motown rejects and whatever. So, but it was huge in the north of England, which was kind of what gave it the name Northern Soul. But it's also huge in Japan. It's huge. Yeah. There's you know, I was basically reading this book, and they, you know, it was like, shout out to one of the best Northern Soul clubs in the world, which was it's called Nude Restaurant over in Kobe, and I was like, man, you know, that looks brilliant. You know, I mean, I'm really into that music myself. So
they play live music.
No, it's they basically just got like 4 DJs. They were like, formerly like mods. They were like, you know, just these guys. They're just like cool as hell with their shades and, you know, their mod gear. So we were just like, this looks like a really, really good story. I really want to go to this night. So that was one that we just did on completely on my own dime. And I ended up selling it after I got back from the trip. So
did that go in the newspaper or did that go somewhere else?
That ended up in the Independent in the UK. And that's that. You know, I think that is but that's kind of rare these days, just because I think at that time, you know, when again, if you've got a mate to go over with as well, it just makes it a little bit more. It's like, right, okay, we're doing this, we're doing that, you know, so you kind of G yourself up a little bit more. So it's rare, but that would be an example. And I think I did one recently for Travel and Leisure, which was that was during COVID, but we did like 1,000 kilometers on a motorbike up in Nan. So like, basically just like up north, and you know, and it turned into this kind of like cow soy, you know, mission to try and get like the best breakfast cow soy. So that was a cool one as well. I mean, actually, I mean, those ones I would say are, you know, possibly, you know, nothing against your chief of, you know, they're fantastic, fantastic opportunities, and
there aren't luxury trips for one when you're on a motorcycle for 1,000 kilometers. Even if you're doing the Four Seasons motorcycle trip, it's still, you're logging miles. So it's gritty.
So that would probably more be the type of travel that I would enjoy to write about. But you know, I'll take anything.
And so is after many years here in town. So you've been here over 10.
Yeah, it's about 10 years. Yeah.
And so, are you moving toward a specialty, or are you evolving towards a new specialty, or are you going to be? Are you now in the reliable high-end travel reporter club?
Who knows?
Right.
I mean, who knows? I mean, honestly, like everything is just so. I would say that, you know, nothing has ever been less certain. When it comes to this profession. So really don't know. And I think that's kind of, you know, especially if you're kind of freelance, that's why my fingers are kind of in so many pies at the moment. Is you know, it seems to be you know, you got to keep the plate spinning, and then when the plate stops spinning, then maybe kind of consider what's next. But the thing, you know, there's a lot of uncertainty with what's going on at the moment. So
was any of that obvious when you were choosing back in Edinburgh at the university and prior level, when, you know, journalism was infesting your head? Was there any notion in the classroom that the horizon was coming a little quicker at that point?
No, not at all. No. I mean, like, you know, there should have been, but, you know, I mean, it's still, you know, I mean, kind of giving away my age here, but you know, even the internet was still it was so like nascent, you know. I mean, that was, you know, when I started university back in 1995, and it was still you know, you were still barely using it, you know. It was still like dial up and whatever, you know, so, which seems just completely prehistoric now. So I don't think there was the notion that I don't know, we sort of seemed like less existentially you know.
And so
threatened.
The idea was write about news or go in the direction you went, which is travel writing or other things of that nature. Move up the totem pole of whatever organization you're in to write, and then maybe have writers reporting into you and then manage them and carry a briefcase. And at some point you're on the editorial staff and maybe you're on the op-ed page, or something like that, right? But I guess there was a trajectory. I mean, there still is a trajectory of sorts, you know. I mean, I think, you know, I mean, there are still staff jobs, but not really, you know. I mean, it's you know, we just see across the board. It's and you know, I mean, obviously there's, you know, there's Substacks, there's you know, people going independent, and that's working out for some people. But yeah, I think it's for sure the opportunities or the traditional trajectory is definitely not what it was. How long have you been a work from home writer? Forever?
I had a brief, no, not forever. No, I had a brief sojourn down in when I was in Singapore. I had an office job, so I was working with Ink Publications down there. So
Tiger Airways.
Tiger Airways, yeah.
Suit and tie or
no, not suit and tie.
Long sleeve shirt, white shirt or something.
Yeah, no, we were like, I mean, it was pretty casual. Okay. You know, like they kind of
and hotter.
Yeah,
it's just
exactly. Yeah. But yeah, no, that was the last. That was kind of the last office job that I, you know, when I've done consultancies and been in offices, and you know, I think I've worn a tie maybe 4 or 5 times in the last 10 odd years.
The arraignment hearing, things. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, well, exactly. You're not too far away from it.
I can show up. Well, that's interesting. I mean, I don't want to make the ridiculous assertion that's running through my head, but where has the industry gone? I mean, what has happened here? It's a daily revolution. And I look at Tucker Carlson broadcasting a Trump speech on X. And will it have, I wonder if you can just drop in to watch it, or if you have to sign up to be an X member, and it doesn't cost either way, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Will there be 1 billion people, if 1 billion people are interested? Or if they do, you know, the Venus landing with people, you know, on X, you know, it's just like, wait, what's going on here? Like, everything has really changed.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's just wild. Yeah. I mean, I think it's, you know, you know, you obviously have to try and adapt as much as possible. But yeah, I mean, what does adapting even mean?
Right.
These days. And I think, you know, you get to,
especially when you're working from home and you don't have 20 nervous comrades to sit around the coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
The water cooler with to say, "Well, my guys, what are you doing?"
Exactly. They're just like a couple of grumpy old men, you know. Like it's just like, you know, like it's like on a WhatsApp group, just saying, you know, saying how screwed we are, you know.
So we're in Bangkok, Thailand here today, and today was an extremely newsworthy day. And I was walking through some public spaces today to get here to the Rembrandt office that we have that we're meeting, which is not at either of our neighborhoods necessarily. And I saw a lot of people looking at their phones, maybe more than normal, on, you know, taxi drivers reading their phones. As a person in exile came back here, and I'm not sure what's all going on or if it's true, but I assume it's happening. And I don't know how that news disseminates. You know, I don't know how that gets out anymore. But I know everyone was watching different things that were talking about it.
Sure. Yeah.
And I thought, I wonder how much opinion is attached to this.
Yeah.
Like, what a shameful return, or what a majestic return. Like,
right. Yeah.
You know, if you can get those 100,000 people in the taxi right now or on the back of a motorcycle with whatever your news stream is, you impact that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's so fun. You know, I mean, even, consuming the news back home as well. You know, I mean, I think, it's sort of weird watching the BBC and you know, Channel 4 News, and you know, now that everything has been kind of superseded by, you know, whatever, X or Twitter or you know, the
something faster.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and just, you know, how kind of little trust there is, and sort of justifiably.
Well, it brings me back to the thing that you tied together for me, is you still have to have information to say where stuff actually is.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And I thought today, I was like, well, God, I'm glad I read through these, I pieced them together, and it was because you pieced them together for me. I said, take a look at these.
So you can get through Chattachack. I mean, you might not know what's going on anywhere else, but you can get from the pet section to the t-shirt section.
27 zones. Yeah, exactly. Well, cool. Anything else you're working on or doing that I didn't get apart from glottal stops, which you only had one?
Is there really only one?
That's all I write down.
That's pretty good. I think you'll find a few more when we
all right,
when we listen.
Frank
to
and
it.
I'll run the glottal. We'll download an app to do glottal stop identification.
You should do. Yeah, that can be a new invention when you get Scots on.
Happy to have gone through the music. Briefly talked about your origins in Fife, the Kingdom of, by your description, near St. Andrews. Talked about your various ventures. Anything I didn't bring up that you thought would be relevant for a podcast that people are going to maybe go to find out who you are?
Not really. No, I think we covered a decent amount of ground. Yeah.
Good.
I mean, in terms of projects at the moment, I'm just kind of the main project is just kind of making sure that my kid enjoys his school.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
nothing wrong with that.
His first few days has been a bit tough, but.
So I have some printed articles. Would you mind reading one of your pieces of work, or we could look it up if you didn't like these?
Yeah, you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, why don't we take a break and adjust our headsets, and I can pull that one up, or you can take a look and see if you want to do one of these. But we will have a reading from you. Duncan Forgan, we'll be right back. All right?
Awesome.
Duncan Forgan reading one of his own articles from The Independent?
Okay.
Or not?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're okay.
Over to you.
So the headline is Inside Japan's Northern Soul Movement, where UK's retro music rules below the streets of Kobe. Subdecked. Sorry. The Northern Soul movement shook up the UK music scene in the 1970s and then went global. Duncan Forgan, me, finds it still going strong in Japan. Okay. Johei rules the dance floor at the Jam Jam Club in Kobe. He spins, shuffles, and launches a series of high kicks, his baggy trousers billowing as he syncs his moves to the steady tempo of singer Luther Ingram's 1967 non-hit, If It's All the Same to You, Babe. I used YouTube videos of dancers at Wigan Casino to help me practice, says Johei. The venue is, along with the Mecca in Blackpool, the Golden Torch in Stoke-upon-Trent, and the Twisted Wheel in Manchester, regarded as hallowed ground for lovers of up-tempo soul. I used to spend hours perfecting my moves in my bedroom. I actually ended up wearing a hole in the tatami floor. Nurtured in dance halls and ballrooms in working-class towns across the north of the United Kingdom in the 1970s, Northern Soul, a collector-friendly culture where fanatics like Johei dance all night to rare American soul, is now experiencing a robust revival in Asia. Nowhere more so than here under a busy shopping street in central Japan, where Nude Restaurant, one of Japan's longest-running soul nights, shakes the rafters of the Subterranean Club on the last Saturday evening of every month. Up above, the centre of Kobe, Japan's sixth largest city, is liberally populated with human traffic, blissfully unaware of the dance floor inferno that is rapidly smouldering underground. Glamorous girls clutch expensive brand-name bags as they totter to dinner from the Motomachi shopping precinct. In restaurants, diners slurp down bowls of locally flavoured shoyu, soy sauce, ramen, sorry, or pay, I'm going a wee bit too literal, or pay homage to the famously pampered Kobe cattle at yakiniku joints and steakhouses. But down here, in a venue that evokes the atmosphere of legendary UK clubs like the 100 Club in Soho and the Cavern in Liverpool, the burning intensity of 1960s soul is being harnessed in incendiary style by Ryo Kitaki, the founder of Nude Restaurant, and his crew Izumi Sawamoto, Shuhei Yoshioka, and Seiji Iwabuchi. Ancoro, ancoro, encore, encore, yell the crowd as they move as one towards the DJ booth. It sounds like a football chant. Behind the decks, the effervescent Kitaki is a whooping ball of energy, urging the sharply dressed patrons to even greater heights of acrobatic prowess on the sprung wooden dance floor. He obliges the faithful with Marvin Gaye. Not one of his greatest hits, though, but his obscure 1965 floor filler, This Love-Starved Heart of Mine Is Killing Me. It's a track that's legendary in Northern Soul circles, but all but buried amid the singer's extensive catalogue. Here the crowd goes wild. People punch the air, mouth the words, and perform a series of energetic high kicks and drops. There's something very special about the atmosphere, says Dave Flynn, the founder of London's Capital Soul Club and a regular guest DJ at Nude Restaurant. On the UK scene, even in its heyday, everything was a little bit more competitive and judgmental. It was less friendly. The guys that run Nude Restaurant are all very charismatic, but they give out a friendlier vibe. It feels more inclusive, like a family. You can come here knowing nobody and leave with 20 new mates. Northern Soul isn't a new fad in Japan. It's been popular here for over 20 years. It was a huge challenge, says Sawamoto. We had no history, no knowledge, no audience, no records. We had to start from nothing and teach our audience what Northern Soul was. Songs, dancing, spirit. All of this we had to communicate to our crowd, and we have to keep passing on this information every month. It was a series of pilgrimages to the UK that formed the basis for Nude Restaurant as it is today. Kitaki started the event in 1994 as a 1960s night, playing an eclectic range of beat, soul, R&B and jazz. But after visiting London's 100 Club to witness a Northern-only set by Scene Face, Keb Darj, he changed his playlists. Sawamoto, Yoshioka and Iwabuchi made the same trip to further their musical education, returning with tales of sweat-soaked camaraderie and rare records, and with a willingness to spread the gospel in their home cities of Kobe and Osaka. And it swiftly becomes obvious that the Kansai crew has created something rather special. As the team alternates behind the decks, the heat inside the club quickly builds. Northern favourites such as the OJs Gliding, I'll Never Forget You, and The Joyous, Going to Be a Big Thing by the Yum Yums, provide the soundtrack, as the scene's star dancers unveil their repertoire of spins, kicks and drops. During the week, I'm a salary man. I work long hours, says Sawamoto, as he takes a cigarette break at the bottom of the stairs leading to the club. Collecting, playing, and listening to music like this is a huge sense of release for me. Back inside, things are winding down. The bar is dishing out last orders of Kirin beer and whiskey highballs as people chat in front of the decks or flop exhausted onto long leather couches. While the Northern Soul scene in the UK is famous for its all-nighters, licensing and noise laws in the centre of Kobe are stricter. On the dance floor, the lights come on to reveal a parade of grinning, sweaty, shirtless male dancers. Even the ladies, most of whom began the night channeling Twiggy and Kathy McGowan, are ending the evening slightly dishevelled. Kitaki pauses, eyeing the clock before bringing the needle down on Love Slipped Through My Fingers by Sam Williams. As the driving beat kicks in, the floor sparks back into life. When the music is this good, nobody wants the dancing to stop.
Nice. Well done. Yeah, it's interesting. You know, I mean, there's something very special, the guy says. You didn't write that. You know, it's interesting. You have this thing that you do from time to time on the train ride home. You know, I'm sorry, she's sobbing. You know, you describe it through their description, and it's real interesting.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I like that. You've done it. Maybe I'm just making that up, but it's cool. And then, you know, for Ying, the rare trip home is always even about the destination, but for once she appears to be happy. You know, it's just sort of,
yeah, it's
a nice sort of wrap up here, but that's a very cool sort of description. And we just got back from Japan and went to clubs, and the guy sitting on the stairs smoking, like, I saw it.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it? It's like, yeah.
Just outside sweating, just get up and go back in one more time.
And that was just such a, you know, it was such a legit, I mean, it was such a great evening.
Right.
As well, you know, it was just, you know, I mean, it really was one of the, you know, just a great night, and yeah.
Well, cool. I appreciate you doing that. That was cool. So,
sure.
Roman and Todd podcast, 3 pieces. We've done 1 and 2. You performed, or if we can call it that, and we had a little discussion about you. But I think we've agreed to head down to Jack's and go check it out quick.
Sure.
You still up for that?
Yeah.
Good. All right,
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Franco, let's shut it down and go to Jack's and make sure you get to your gig on time tonight. All right? All right, thanks. All right. All right, well, here we are, Duncan. Third part of Roman Anton podcast is to pick a spot. And I have my microphone here. We picked Jack's, which is on the Chao Phraya River. You come down here much? You come down here ever?
Yeah, I mean, I've not been down here for a few weeks just because been back in Europe, man. But yeah, this is a long-time favourite. It's kind of like, it's one of the few sort of ramshackle places left by the river, and so like good place to sit around and get sloshed and talk rubbish.
Is that where you took off on that fancy boat right over there?
We're down a little bit further down at the Saturn, riverside, the Antara riverside. So it's good. Yeah, up and down.
Peninsula Hotel, Shangri-La, very expensive joints down here, but this one's sort of nestled in between, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's kind of like just like old school. So it's a great place.
Do you live near here?
I'm up in Celadang, so just like kind of straight shot up.
2 miles, a mile and a half.
Yeah, not far, no. So like, it's kind of close to the river and close to here.
So you just motorcycled from where I live. That seems like a big distance to get over here a lot, but I would like to spend more time down here.
Yeah, I mean, I think I went down to Tonglor for an opening last week, and I think it's just that thing. It's that psychological thing of like coming over to Sukhumvit or whatever. You know, I mean, like, you know, it's not far at all.
Not far
it's
at all.
It's not difficult to get to. I think it's just like, I don't know. We like really stick to our hoods, right?
But this is legit because it has parking right out in front. It's for motorcycles and cars, and you got a hotel you could park at. So pretty easy access, I guess. If you're in Bangkok, come down here, check out Jack's. I think it has a longer than that. The name, Jack's Bar?
Yeah, that's it.
Jack's Bar.
Just like classic to the point. Jack's, I don't think Jack's here at the moment, but he's a kind of good character and food's really good. Yeah,
Brit?
Jack? No, he's Thai. Yeah,
okay, good.
A farmer cop, I believe. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting a lot of sideways looks. We might be taking up critical sunset tables here. But if you're in town and you're checking it out, travel writer endorsed, Jack's Bar down on the water. Duncan, it's a pleasure meeting you today, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Right. Thanks very much.
All right, cool.
Hope not too many glottal stops.
Right. Just 2 by my recollection.
Just 2. That's good. Yeah.
All right, Franco, let's shut it down. Cool. That's it. Thanks. Good. Yeah.
1, 2, 3, quiet.